everybody, Norm from Tested here with the legendary Mike Hill at Monsterpalooza. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good, Norm. How are you, mate?
I'm doing pretty good now that we've seen you and see your new work.
Yes.
So you're showing off at Monsterpalooza this new, not just one portrait, but two characters. It's Frankenstein's monster and Maria from 1931 Frankenstein?
That's absolutely correct, yeah. It's the one scene that most people remember, you know, is Frankie and the little girl, you know.
Yeah.
And her sad demise, you know.
Well, it's one of the few times you see him smile.
That's right.
You know, and also the flowers. You see a lot of the portraits with him holding the flowers,
yes,
but not with the little girl.
That's right. Well, yeah, I mean, she accepted him for what he is. You know, she didn't see, I guess she felt his soul and not his monstrous visage, you know, which he wasn't used to. I mean, if it was a real life, I think she'd notice his green skin and bolts in his neck, but it's a real tender moment, you know.
Now you do full body portraits. Last year you had your bride, Frankenstein. That was a little behind the scenes type piece. This one is more in the movie. Can you talk to your process of sculpting this from head to toe?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I do a very loose sketch on, I mean, basically not much more than a stick man. Just see how the pose would go together. It was a very, very tricky scene because your initial assumption is to do it when they're kneeling down.
Yeah.
The problem is they're really facing each other. So for the voyeur or the audience look, you have to be on one side or the other. So I chose a scene. You only see this scene from reverse in the movie when she's leading him to the water, you know. And the only thing I really switched is she's kind of looking ahead. I just turned her to look at him. That's the only difference really. But I just thought it was a nice moment, the fact that she's leading him, and you know.
And they have to kind of work with each other. It's two characters, almost like a diorama.
Absolutely, yeah.
Their expressions have to be in the same moment.
That's right. Yeah, and I just thought that, you know, it's his happiest time to put that big smile on his face.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So let's talk about the sculpture of the monster here. How do you make it look like? Are you trying to make it look like it, you know, you're trying to see Karloff behind it,
of course. Yeah. You've got to start with Karloff first. I mean, if you don't look like Karloff, and you've just got a monster, not the monster. And the thing about that particular makeup is, it doesn't really work on anybody else. It only works for his face. I mean, the people who came after him, you got, Lon Chaney Jr., and then you have Bela Lugosi, you have Glenn Strange. They just don't have the same face that he has, you know, in my opinion. You know, it was made for him, and only he should really wear it.
Yeah, a lot of what you do isn't just the character, it's the performance.
Absolutely.
The capture of what he brought to the character.
You've got to get a soul coming out, because what you're trying to do, and I've probably said this on your show before, but what you're trying to do is people who may have never seen the movie, you know, you want them to know what's going on without them having to explain to them. So you've got to pick that certain moment that, you know, that speaks.
And it's not just the head portrait, of course, it's the full body. So
full body.
Again, talk about the reference material that you use, because things that's striking me, not just the jacket or the shoes between, that contrast is so striking.
Yeah, well, that's what he wore. He wore a pair of boots. I mean, the legend is that they were asphalt spreaders boots, but I never been able to find a pair ever. So again, it was just to give him a lift, because Boris Karloff was only 5'10", but he needed to look 7 foot, I guess. So even with his lifts in his boots, he stands about 6'2". He's not that monstrous really, you know. This is his height, so.
So you're trying to get it as true to life as possible, not how the viewer may have perceived it in the film.
No, that's exactly right, and we can come back to that in a second actually. But yeah, I try to make these particular renditions exactly as they was in the movie. The only thing is, I try and blur that line between real and fake, i.e., you know, with the makeup, I don't really show the obvious seams too much. You know, I don't really, so I try to make, this would look, obviously if this was on the film set, this would be a pastel, spongy grey color.
Right.
So sometimes, if I'm not doing it behind the scenes, then I try to make it look like the real creature may have looked. It's kind of amalgamating all those, the soul, his personality, the actor, the makeup, I try and make it all into one.
Really appreciating also the filmmaking aspect of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
And what a wonderful film it is. You know?
Well, speaking of filmmaking, you had some direct hand in recent films. You were one of the character artists redesigning the creature for The Shape of Water.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, with Guillermo. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Well, you know, Guillermo came to me. It already had Legacy Effects to do the creature, so I got to work with Legacy Effects, and Guillermo wanted me to come in and put my spin on it. His quote is, he says, Mike puts a soul into things, so he wanted me to do that aspect. So I came in and, you know, just kind of, you know, put my little spin on things, you know. But there was a group of artists involved, it wasn't just myself. But
you felt like in terms of designing a underwater creature or something paying homage to the creature?
Well, the thing is as well, we had a massive guideline in the sense that, Legacy and myself, we had to make something that was attractive somewhat.
Yeah.
And that was my first. The little maquettes that were previously done, Dave Grasso and David Ming did the original maquettes, which are beautiful, and then Legacy took them and amalgamated into one creature. But it was a wonderful, fantastic design. But when I read the script, there's just certain things that I personally would have changed, but that's my personal taste, which I did. So I made him more sleeker, less plates, just to Guillermo and I discussed, and Shane Mayhem discussed that that we should make him more lithe. In fact, we said more like Karloff, very vascular, and we use Karloff as a reference, Karloff's hands.
That physique of that creature is a handsome physique, and also the paint job too.
Yeah, the directive was that Guillermo wanted an attractive, because you watch the movie and the lady has to find this creature attractive.
Yeah.
So, and it's not an easy task when you're putting the features of a man and a fish together. And there's a bleed over to other creatures that's been done, because you can't help it. I mean, you put them both together. So I just literally went in and sculpted attractive lips. I figured if she's going to kiss him, let's make his lips attractive. So then and then he started to come out from there. So then I gave him a nice square jaw and a cleft chin. All the things that are superhero-esque handsome with a fish.
It worked.
Oh, thank you.
It worked for the film, and congratulations on it being such a huge success.
It was a fun. I'm proud of the project completely.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see what you come out with next.
Well, on that note, let's mention my short film I'm doing. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Absolutely.
So I'm doing a short film, and it features a very classic Universal monster, but the guy who reawakens today. So I'm very excited. It's a no-nonsense film. It's not tongue-in-cheek. There's no jokes. It doesn't take fun of the monsters, and it doesn't defang the monster. At the end of the day, for the likes of Karloff, is a walking dead man who's been sewn together. There's not a lot of fun in that, really. So I think for the past 70 years, or so, whatever, 60 years or so, the public have been desensitized to what he really is. So I just want to show again, in my way, if this guy really woke up, what would that situation be?
And where can people find out more about that short film?
We're just setting up a website right now, and it's under the title of The Creation Project. That's not the film title, but for right now, from pre-production, it's called The Creation Project. And I'm doing it in association with Wolfpack Studios.
That's awesome.
So it's going to be cool, yeah, thanks. And hopefully we'll do some more on that.
Yeah, I'd love to check it out once it comes out, and we'll share some info below where you out there can check out the amazing Mike Hill's work. Mike, It's great to see you.
Thank you, buddy. Next time.